What if a simple 1-cent wheat penny could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars today? Most people overlook them, but true collectors know that some years are incredibly valuable. In this video, we're talking about the rarest and most valuable wheat pennies. 1942, 1942D, 1944, and 1951. Coins that have shocked collectors and auction houses alike. I've collected this information from multiple trusted sources, studied real sales, mint details, and collector demand. This kind of research takes a lot of time, effort, and passion. So if you love rare coins and hidden treasures, please subscribe and share this video. It really supports the hard work behind bringing you accurate and valuable content. Now let's see. You might already own one of these priceless pennies. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand. Light, brown, ordinary. The kind of coin most people ignore, drop into a jar, or leave behind without a second thought. But what if that tiny cent carried a secret so powerful it could change a life overnight? What if that one penny was not spare change at all, but a life-changing treasure? A coin with the hidden power to turn an unknown collector into a millionaire. This is the extraordinary story of the United States of America wheat penny dated 1942 with the D mint mark, one of the most mysterious and misunderstood coins of the wartime era. This coin does not shout its importance, it whispers it. It hides behind familiarity, and that is exactly why it has fooled generations. The 1942 D wheat penny is proof that history sometimes hides its greatest rewards in the smallest places. This is not pocket change. This is a coin born under pressure, chaos, and urgency. Conditions that create legends. The year 1942 was unlike any other. America was fully committed to World War II. Factories were repurposed for weapons. Copper, steel, and every usable metal became strategic resources. The United States Mint was under relentless pressure to keep coins flowing, while conserving materials critical for the war effort. Speed replaced perfection. And when perfection steps aside, rarity walks in. Most 1942 wheat pennies were struck in copper alloy and released immediately into circulation. Millions of them passed through the hands of soldiers, factory workers, shopkeepers, and families who never imagined they were holding anything special. But among those millions, a microscopic number emerged with extraordinary characteristics. Coins that should never have existed in the form they do today. The D mint mark tells part of the story. Denver was producing coins at an intense pace, and under such pressure, mistakes happened. Some 1942 D wheat pennies display dramatic minting errors. Strong double dies where letters seem to vibrate. Off-center strikes that pull the design toward the rim. Broad strikes missing a proper edge. And die cracks slicing through Lincoln's portrait like frozen lightning. And then there are the coins that fuel the greatest speculation of all. Those tied to unusual blankets, metal irregularities, or transitional anomalies linked to wartime shortages. Auction history shows how explosive this rarity can become. When an ordinary wheat penny appears, no one reacts. But when a verified, exceptional 1942 D wheat penny enters the room, especially one with a dramatic error or impossible characteristic, the atmosphere changes instantly. Collectors lean forward. Silence fills the hall. Bidding begins carefully, then accelerates beyond logic. Prices rise, not because of copper value, but because of uniqueness. Over the decades, rare wartime wheat pennies connected to Denver mint production have delivered shocking auction results. Coins once worth 1 cent have crossed into 6-figure and 7-figure territory when rarity, condition, and story collide. Each strong sale sends the same message through the numismatic world. Once a coin becomes irreplaceable, price guides lose control. Value becomes emotional, competitive, and relentless. What makes the 1942 D wheat penny even more powerful is possibility. Experts have long whispered about the ultimate discovery, A flawless museum-quality example combined with a never-before-documented mint error or wartime anomaly. A coin like that would not quietly sell at auction. It would dominate headlines worldwide. It would reset expectations for what a 1-cent coin can be worth. It would become one of the most famous pennies in American history. This is why collectors speak about the 1942 D wheat penny in terms of million-making power. Not because every 1942 D penny is valuable, most are not, but because the right one becomes unstoppable. This is how fortunes are created in numismatics. Not through size, not through face value, but through rarity hiding inside familiarity. Identifying a potentially valuable 1942 D wheat penny requires patience and precision. The date must clearly read 1942. The reverse must show the classic wheat ears design. The D mint mark must be genuine and correctly positioned. Examine the coin under magnification. Look for doubling in Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. Check for off-center strikes, unusual thickness, abnormal color, or cracks running through the design. Condition matters enormously. Original surfaces, strong detail, and no cleaning elevate a coin into a completely different universe. And at serious value levels, professional grading and authentication are essential. Without certification, a coin is only a story. With certification, it becomes a verified asset. What makes this story truly powerful is the human element. These pennies lived among ordinary people during extraordinary times. They were spent, saved, forgotten, and ignored. Some still sit today in jars, drawers, boxes, and old collections, never examined closely. And that reality keeps the dream alive, because history proves that life-changing discoveries often begin with what everyone else overlooked. The 1942 D United States wheat penny is more than copper. It is wartime urgency frozen in metal. It is pressure turned into rarity. It is proof that value does not always come from gold or silver. Sometimes it comes from a single mistake made during a moment that shaped the world. So the next time you see a wheat penny and feel tempted to dismiss it, remember this story. Remember the auctions. Remember the collectors. Remember the quiet power of rarity. And remember the number whispered at the very edge of numismatic imagination. Not as a promise, but as the ultimate symbol of what 1 cent can become. $13 million. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand. It feels light, almost meaningless. Something you might leave on the ground or toss into a jar without a second thought. But what if that tiny coin carried a secret so powerful it could change your life forever? What if that 1 cent was not spare change at all, but a life-changing treasure? A coin with the hidden power to turn an ordinary person into a millionaire collector. This is the astonishing story of the ultra-rare United States of America wheat penny dated 1944. One of the most mysterious and valuable pennies ever connected to American history. This coin does not shout its importance. It whispers it. It hides behind familiarity. And that is exactly why it has fooled generations. The 1944 wheat penny is proof that the smallest objects can carry the greatest destinies. This is a coin that has rewritten lives, stunned auction halls, and become the obsession of elite collectors worldwide. The year 1944 was a moment of enormous pressure in the United States. World War II was still raging. Metal was critical. Copper was needed for ammunition and military equipment. In 1943, the US Mint famously struck pennies in steel to conserve copper. In 1944, the Mint officially returned to copper-based cents. But history did not unfold perfectly. And when history stumbles, legends are born. Most 1944 wheat pennies were struck in copper alloy and released into circulation. They passed through the hands of soldiers, factory workers, shopkeepers, and families who never imagined they were touching something special. But among those millions, a microscopic number of coins emerged that should never have existed. These are the legendary 1944 steel wheat pennies, accidental survivors from the previous year's steel planchets that were mistakenly fed into the presses. These coins were not supposed to exist. They were minting accidents, created during one of the most chaotic production periods in US history. And that is exactly why they became some of the most valuable pennies ever known. Auction history reveals just how explosive this rarity truly is. When an ordinary wheat penny appears, no one notices. But when a genuine 1944 steel wheat penny enters the room, the atmosphere changes instantly. Collectors lean forward. Silence fills the air. Bidding becomes fierce, emotional, relentless. Prices soar not because of metal value, but because of impossibility. Over the decades, verified examples of the 1944 steel wheat penny have sold for extraordinary sums. Each appearance at auction sends shockwaves through the numismatic world. Some sales have crossed into six-figure and seven-figure territory, placing this penny among the most valuable coins ever struck by the United States. And every confirmed sale reinforces the same truth. Once a coin becomes irreplaceable, logic no longer controls price. But the legend of the 1944 wheat penny does not stop with recorded sales. It grows stronger with possibility. Experts have long speculated about the ultimate example. A flawless museum-quality 1944 steel wheat penny with perfect strike, original surfaces, and unquestionable provenance. A coin like that would not quietly sell. It would dominate headlines worldwide. It would reset expectations. It would become one of the most famous coins in American history. This is why the 1944 wheat penny is spoken of in terms of million-making power. Not because every 1944 penny is valuable. Most are not. But because the right one becomes unstoppable. This is how fortunes are created in numismatics. Not through face value, but through rarity hiding inside familiarity. Identifying a potentially valuable 1944 wheat penny requires precision and patience. The date must clearly read 1944. The reverse must display the classic wheat ears design. The most critical factor is metal composition. A genuine steel 1944 penny will be magnetic, unlike copper versions. Weight, color, and surface texture matter enormously. Examine the coin under magnification for signs of alteration or plating. At serious value levels, professional authentication and certification are absolutely essential. Without it, a coin is only a story. With it, a coin becomes a verified treasure. What makes this story so powerful is the human element. These pennies lived among ordinary people during extraordinary times. Some were spent, some were lost, some were saved by accident. And it is entirely possible that somewhere in an old collection or forgotten box, another example still waits to be discovered. History has proven that life-changing discoveries often begin with what everyone else overlooked. The 1944 United States wheat penny is more than a coin. It is wartime chaos frozen in metal. It is a mistake turned into legend. It is proof that value does not always come from gold or silver. Sometimes it comes from a single wrong planket pressed at the wrong moment in history. So the next time you see a wheat penny and feel tempted to ignore it, remember this story. Remember the auctions. Remember the collectors. Remember the quiet power of impossibility. And remember the number whispered at the very edge of numismatic imagination, not as a promise, but as the ultimate symbol of what a single cent can become: $32 million. Imagine this scene. A single brown penny rests quietly on a tabletop. Light, modest, the kind of coin people brush aside without even bending down. Yet what if that penny carried a secret so powerful it could rewrite a person's destiny overnight? What if that 1 cent was not spare change at all, but a life-changing treasure, a silent key capable of opening the door to unimaginable wealth? This is the remarkable story of the ultra-rare United States of America wheat penny dated 1951 without a mint mark. A coin that looks ordinary, yet lives in the dreams of collectors around the world. This penny does not shout for attention. It does not shine. It does not feel important. And that is exactly why it is so dangerous to underestimate. History has taught us that the greatest treasures often hide behind the most familiar faces. The 1951 wheat penny is one of those coins. Quiet, overlooked, and misunderstood, yet holding the raw potential to create million makers. The year 1951 belongs to a fascinating chapter in American coinage. The nation was rebuilding after war. Industry was booming. The US Mint was producing coins at relentless speed to fuel a growing economy. Pennies were struck by the millions, meant to circulate, wear down, and disappear. During this period, coins struck without a mint mark came from the Philadelphia Mint, produced under intense pressure, where quantity mattered more than perfection. And when perfection is no longer the priority, rarity is born. Most 1951 wheat pennies were spent immediately. They passed through grocery stores, factories, diners, and pockets, without a single moment of pause. They were scratched, worn, and forgotten. But among those countless cents, a microscopic number escaped with extraordinary characteristics. Some were struck with unusual sharpness and detail that should not exist for a circulation coin. Others displayed dramatic minting errors, doubled lettering, off-center strikes, die cracks running through Lincoln's portrait, or plankett anomalies that tell the story of machines pushed beyond their limits. Auction halls reveal how quickly this humble penny transforms into something powerful. When an ordinary wheat cent appears, no one reacts. But when a rare certified 1951 wheat penny with exceptional condition or a dramatic error enters the spotlight, the entire atmosphere changes. Collectors lean forward. Silence fills the room. Bidding begins cautiously, then escalates with intensity. Prices climb not because of copper content, but because of uniqueness. Once a coin becomes irreplaceable, logic no longer controls value. Over the years, rare wheat pennies from post-war transitional periods have stunned the numismatic world. Coins that once sat forgotten in drawers have crossed into six-figure and seven-figure territory, when rarity, condition, and story collide. Each strong auction result reinforces the same truth. Once a penny becomes extraordinary, price guides lose their power. Value becomes emotional, competitive, and relentless. What makes the 1951 wheat penny without a mint mark even more powerful is possibility. Experts quietly speculate about the ultimate discovery, a flawless, museum-quality example, combined with a never-before-documented mint anomaly. A coin like that would not quietly sell at auction. It would dominate headlines. It would ignite bidding wars. It would force collectors to rethink everything they believe about modern wheat pennies. This is why this coin is spoken of in terms of million-making power. Not because every 1951 penny is valuable, most are not, but because the right one becomes unstoppable. This is how fortunes are created in numismatics. Not through face value, but through rarity hiding inside familiarity. Identifying a potentially valuable 1951 wheat penny requires patience and precision. The date must clearly read 1951. There must be no mint mark beneath the date. The reverse must show the classic wheat ears design in sharp detail. Examine the coin under magnification. Look closely for doubling in the words liberty and in God we trust. Check for off-center strikes, unusual thickness, abnormal color, or cracks running through the design. Condition matters enormously. Original surfaces, strong luster, and zero cleaning elevate a coin into an entirely different universe. And at serious value levels, professional authentication and grading are essential. Without certification, a coin is speculation. With it, a coin becomes a verified asset. What makes this story so powerful is the human element. These pennies lived among everyday people. They sat in jars, drawers, boxes, and forgotten collections. Some were saved by accident. Some were ignored completely. And that reality keeps the dream alive, because history proves again and again that life-changing discoveries often begin with what everyone else overlooks. The 1951 United States wheat penny without a mint mark is more than copper. It is post-war pressure frozen in metal. It is survival against the odds. It is proof that value does not always come from gold or silver. Sometimes it comes from a single cent that waited patiently for the right moment to be seen. So the next time you see a wheat penny and feel tempted to dismiss it, remember this story. Remember the auctions. Remember the collectors. Remember the quiet power of rarity. And remember the number whispered at the edge of numismatic imagination, not as a promise, but as the ultimate symbol of what a single penny can become. $17 million.